My family came over actually probably around the 1920s. My grandfathers, they called it pensionado, and this was during the time that the Philippines was actually a commonwealth under the United States of America. My father had his first taste of martial arts through watching all the hard-working Filipinos that were working the fields, and he would notice on their breaks that they would play around on the asparagus fields and work out with the tools that they would use for farming, and that was his first aha moment. For me, it was probably the main connection that I had to my ancestry, my Filipino roots. So one of the ways, for many Filipinos and Filipinas to stay connected to their ancestry was through either the food or martial art. I'm so lucky that my dad, when I was born, and started growing up as a little girl, started saying, I want you, number one, to defend yourself, but number two, I want you to know your culture. When you have the late Bruce Lee as your godfather, so it was like a buffet of different systems and martial arts that I was acquainted with. I believe in thinking outside the box. So I told my son, I go, let's think like entrepreneurs. We wrote a book called The Curious Mind of Sebastian, and it's about our journey, first hearing the word autism and trying to understand what that means as mother and son. They stumbled upon a trailer to my independent film that I wrote, directed, and produced and starred in many years ago. And they're like, oh, wait a minute, this woman looks interesting. She looks like she can act. And lucky for me, they reached out to casting, and casting reached out to my manager, and the rest is history. It was an incredible honor. It definitely changed my life. It really was a blessing in disguise, because I would have never thought in a million years that I would ever become part of the Star Wars franchise. I think for me, historically, and especially as a woman, I've always have been proud of how strong Filipino women are, right? We've had such an amazing history, and my father, when I was a little girl, I didn't have a lot of archetypes, so he would always grab a historical book of all Filipina warriors and leaders, and he would say, look, this is your ancestry. This is the makeup of who you are culturally. And so I think having those archetypes of all these strong women, that is probably the most important trait that I carry with me. Our resilience. We are resilient. My grandparents had went through so much when they first came to America back in the 1920s, and they were political activists. They actually had to form groups to help protect Filipino Americans or Filipinos that were living here. I always knew that I would not be afraid to do my due diligence to fight for what is right. I actually recently just did a free, session to help our elders, because there's been such a high, intense degree of attacks toward, our Asian elders, and it was important to me. I'm Dan Inosanto, and I am proud to be Pinoy.